Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs hell. Watch the video till through. The morning air felt strangely heavy when news began spreading through social media platforms. People everywhere were waking up with shock as headlines flashed with the name Honey Boo Boo. Her fans, those who watched her grow up on screen, felt a deep tug inside there. Reports claimed she had been rushed to the emergency room after a terrifying car accident. The confusion built layer by layer as everyone tried to understand what truly happened. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Witnesses at the scene described chaos and panic. Damaged vehicle resting across the road, lights flickering, shattered glass everywhere, and voices filled with fear. Emergency responders acted quickly, surrounding the wreck with urgency. Checking for injuries, calling for support, and preparing immediate transport. Honey was carefully lifted out of the vehicle and placed inside the ambulance as sirens blared across the neighborhood. The road that was usually quiet suddenly became the center of nationwide attention. Mama June received the emergency phone call and the color drained from her face. She rushed out of the house without hesitation, her heartbeat racing faster. With every passing second, her daughter was in danger and nothing else mattered. Fans started flooding the internet with prayers, hoping the young star would be safe and strong. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Inside the emergency room, doctors and nurses moved with speed and focus. Machines beeped steadily while medical staff evaluated injuries, checked vitals, and worked to stabilize. Family members gathered nearby, some crying, some silent, all hoping for a miracle. The atmosphere grew thicker with fear but also with hope. No one wanted to imagine a future without the girl who had brought laughter and joy to millions. The news spread beyond the country, reaching people who had followed her story for years. Supportive messages poured in from fans, celebrities, public figures, and everyone wanted Honey Boo Boo to stand back up stronger than before. People lit candles, posted her pictures, and prayed from faraway places, creating a wave of unity. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Reporters rushed to the hospital trying to capture updates while officers guarded the entrance. Inside, Mama June sat silently, her hands shaking, her eyes red from stress and worry. She tried to stay strong, but the emotions inside her were too heavy to. Moments felt like hours and hours felt like days as the family waited for more information. Every footstep of a doctor, every whisper from a nurse made their hearts jump. The accident scene investigation continued outside. Authorities measured the skid marks, examined the broken parts, and talked to witnesses. Everyone wanted answers, but the priority remained the young girl fighting. Inside, the people nearby described hearing the crash from far away, saying it sounded like metal striking thunder. Some ran out of their homes instantly, others froze in fear before calling emergency services. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Slowly, small signs of hope started appearing. Doctors informed the family she was responding to some tests, giving them a moment to breathe. Mama June covered her face with her hands as tears flowed, not from pain now but from relief. The love between mother and daughter grew stronger than ever before during those moments. She knew the journey ahead would be long, but she also knew her daughter was a fighter. Outside the hospital, people continued gathering. Some held posters with messages of love, some played her old clips and remembered her happiest moments. Children who grew up watching her were also there, showing support in their own way. A sense of unity surrounded the hospital, turning fear into strength step by step. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Mama June eventually stepped outside to speak. Her voice trembled, but she chose courage over silence. She thanked fans for the love and asked everyone to keep praying. She admitted the day had been the hardest of her life and she hoped things would get better soon. Her words spread across TV networks and social media, touching millions of hearts. The night slowly approached and the lights in the hospital glowed brighter. People outside refused to leave, wanting to stay close until the family announced something positive. The entire nation seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next update. Hope remained alive inside everyone who cared for the young star. Honey Boo Boo had inspired many, and now they were standing with her in her hardest time. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The night outside the hospital kept growing darker while the lights inside continued glowing with silent intensity. People who gathered there refused to leave, no matter how late it became, their hearts tied to the little girl fighting inside. The world watched with anxiety, unsure of what tomorrow would bring but holding on to hope that things would get better. Mama June stayed close, praying, thinking, remembering every moment she shared with her daughter. Every memory felt heavier, every breath felt deeper as she waited for the next update from the doctors. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Inside the ER, the medical team worked tirelessly. They checked scans, monitored breathing, adjusted machines, and continued treatments. The seriousness of the accident left everyone in shock, but the doctors carried strength in every step they took. Nurses comforted the family, assuring them that everything possible was being done. Hours felt like days, yet the hope inside the hospital refused to fade. Fans kept posting messages online, creating waves of support from country to country. Children who admired her sent drawings and short videos telling her to stay strong. People who grew up watching her shared stories of how she made them smile. The world seemed to stand still, united by one name: Honey Boo Boo. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The accident investigation team meanwhile worked under the streetlights. They observed the broken metal parts, the smashed windows, and the crushed side of the vehicle. Witnesses explained how everything happened within seconds, leaving no time to react. The road carried long skid marks showing the intensity of the collision. It was a haunting scene, reminding everyone how unpredictable life can be. Back inside, Mama June received another update from the doctors. Her hands trembled as she listened, carefully absorbing every detail. The doctors informed her that progress was slow but visible, a small spark of hope in a dark room. She took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift from her chest. Family members hugged her, holding on to that tiny sign of improvement. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. As the early morning hours approached, people outside the hospital still stood strong. No one was willing to leave until they knew she was safe. Some sat on the pavement with candles, some offered prayers, and some simply waited silently. The support created a powerful energy flowing through the atmosphere. It felt like the world had paused to stand beside the young star. Inside the hospital corridor, Mama June slowly walked toward the waiting room windows. She stared outside, watching the people who came only to support her daughter. Her eyes softened as she whispered a small thank you to them, even though they could not hear it. Their love felt like a shield around the hospital, something that gave her strength. A mother's fear began turning into courage with every passing moment. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Doctors later returned with additional updates. Her condition remained serious but stable, a combination of danger and hope balancing together. Medical teams continued performing tests, adjusting treatment plans, and monitoring every small change. Family members remained strong, determined to stand together in every step of this journey. Every small improvement felt like a victory, every heartbeat a blessing. Meanwhile, online communities grew larger. Millions kept checking for updates, sending prayers, sending love, sending strength. Her name trended across platforms, and news channels showed her journey non-stop. Even people who never watched her show felt connected to the story. It became a moment where humanity came together without hesitation. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The sun started to rise again, turning the sky into soft shades of orange. People outside looked tired, but they still held on to their hope, refusing to give up. Mama June walked outside for a moment, needing fresh air after a long night of fear and stress. Cameras turned toward her and reporters asked questions. She spoke few words, but each carried heavy emotion. She thanked everyone for support, asked for continued prayers, and shared that the doctors were doing their best. Her voice shook, but the strength inside her words touched every heart listening. It was clear she was exhausted yet determined to stay strong for her daughter. Her message spread through television, mobile screens, and social media posts instantly. People felt connected to her pain and her courage. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Back inside, Honey Boo Boo continued receiving treatment. Her body was weak, but her spirit remained strong, her fight visible through every small response. Doctors assured the family that the next few days would be important. Everyone held on to hope, knowing the young star had inspired millions before and she could rise again. Mama June held her daughter's hand, praying silently with every breath. Outside the hospital, support only grew larger. More people arrived, carrying candles, flowers, posters, and handwritten messages. Some stayed quietly while others sang soft songs of hope. The entire area transformed into a field of unity and love. It was a powerful reminder of how deeply a young girl had touched the world. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The hospital hallways continued to echo with footsteps as nurses and doctors moved from room to room. The night had been long and heavy, and the morning brought a quiet calm mixed with worry. Mama June stood close to her daughter's bedside watching every small breath, every tiny movement. Hope was slowly returning but fear still held a place in every heart inside the emergency ward. People outside the hospital remained strong, standing with candles, prayers and posters filled with love. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Police officers return to the scene of the accident in daylight. The crushed metal, the scattered glass and the damaged road all told the painful story again. They inspected the skid marks, measured the distance of the impact and collected every small piece of evidence. Witnesses came forward describing the moment the crash happened, the sudden noise, the overwhelming fear. Everything was being pieced together to bring clarity to a night filled with shock. Back inside the hospital, the doctors continued monitoring her progress. Her vitals showed slow improvement, giving the family a small moment to breathe. Mama June held her daughter's hand, gently whispering comforting words, hoping her voice would reach her. Family members surrounded the room, creating a circle of strength and support. The atmosphere inside the hospital room felt warm despite the fear outside. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Fans around the world kept supporting her. Messages poured in from different countries, languages and cultures, all wishing for her recovery. Children sent drawings, teenagers sent video messages, adults sent prayers and wishes. Everyone shared how much she meant to them, how she inspired them through her journey. The amount of love created a wave of positivity that reached the hospital like a soft breeze. Reporters continued covering updates from outside. News channels repeated the story with every small new detail. The world wanted to know how Honey Boo Boo was doing every hour. Her story had once again connected people everywhere, bringing unity in a moment of fear and pain. Mama June felt emotional seeing how many hearts cared for her daughter. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. As the afternoon approached, doctors shared another update. Her condition was slowly stabilizing, showing promising signs of strength. Mama June closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath as relief washed over her. The long night of tears, fear and stress finally had a silver lining. She thanked the medical team again and again for their dedication and care. People outside the hospital cheered quietly as they heard the news. It felt like the weight of the world had lifted from their hearts. They continued praying and holding candles, their hope growing stronger. Some stayed sitting on the pavement, some walked around softly comforting others. Everyone was united in support of the young star fighting inside. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The day continued with new waves of visitors coming to show support. Photos, flowers and thoughtful notes covered the area outside the hospital entrance. Children stood with posters saying "Stay strong Honey Boo Boo," while adults wiped tears from their eyes. It was a scene filled with pure love, humanity and connection. Even strangers felt like family as they waited together for positive updates. Inside, Mama June stepped out of the room to speak to the press again. Her voice carried exhaustion but also gratitude. She shared that progress was slow but hopeful and requested continued prayers from everyone. The world listened carefully, holding on to every word she spoke. Her strength as a mother inspired millions who followed the story. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Meanwhile, inside the ER room, nurses kept checking her vitals, adjusting machines and speaking softly. They treated her with patience and care as if she were one of their own children. The medical team never slowed down, working with complete dedication. Every slight improvement brought a smile, every small response brought relief. It was a long battle, but one she was bravely fighting with the support of millions. The investigation team held a briefing outside. They explained the progress, the evidence collected, and the possible cause of the accident. People list. Inside the room, Honey Boo Boo showed another small sign of recovery. Doctors smiled, reassuring the family that she was fighting bravely. Mama June held her daughter's hand tighter, whispering, "You are strong, you can do this." Tears filled her eyes, but this time they held hope instead of fear. The family hugged each other, finally feeling a breath of peace after a long storm. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The world began sharing the good signs of recovery. News channels celebrated the improvement, fans cheered online, children smiled again. Everyone felt the weight of worry lifting slowly from their hearts. The story was still painful, but hope had replaced fear. And Mama June knew the battle was not over, but the hardest night had passed. Support continued flowing, people kept sending messages, gifts, prayers and love. The hospital entrance looked like a garden of kindness. It was a true reminder of how deeply someone can touch millions of lives. Honey Boo Boo had inspired joy, strength and unity through her journey. Now the world was giving that love back to her with full heart. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The second night around the hospital brought a quiet calm mixed with heavy emotion. People were tired but their spirits stayed strong, holding on to hope for Honey Boo Boo. Mama June remained close, keeping her eyes on every small movement, every slight improvement. Her heart had suffered through fear, shock and endless waiting. But now she felt a spark of strength growing inside her. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The crowd outside grew again, with fresh faces joining to show support. Some brought handmade signs, some brought flowers, some brought candles glowing softly in the night. Each person stood there out of love and respect and hope for the young star. The hospital security even softened, seeing how peaceful and united the people were. The atmosphere felt warm despite the cold wind moving through the night. Inside the room, the doctors entered for another round of evaluation. They checked her heartbeat, her reactions, her breathing patterns. Each sign showed slow improvement and brought relief to the family. Mama June let out a long breath she had been holding for hours. The nurses also smiled, seeing her respond stronger than before. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Morning sunlight entered through the hospital windows, bringing a gentle glow. Mama June had not slept, but she sat with quiet strength beside her daughter. The world outside continued praying, sending messages, sending strength. Fans from different countries posted videos lighting candles at home for her recovery. It was a wave of care sweeping across the globe. Doctors now prepared for a special test to check her deeper responses. Family members held hands, forming a circle of hope. The silence in the room felt heavy yet full of belief. Every breath from her felt like a promise of a brighter tomorrow. Mama June whispered softly, telling her she was strong and brave. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. People outside the hospital cheered quietly when they heard she had responded to new tests. Children smiled, families sighed with relief, and fans celebrated in their hearts. The sun on their faces felt warmer, as if the universe was giving a sign. More candles were placed around the hospital steps, glowing like stars in daylight. Everyone felt connected in a moment of pure kindness. Reporters shared positive news across every platform. The world, who had been waiting with fear, finally began to breathe again slowly. Honey Boo Boo's name became a symbol of strength and resilience. Her journey inspired millions, showing the power of unity and love. Mama June felt grateful for every person who stood by them without hesitation. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The third day after the accident came with another emotional moment. Doctors informed Mama June that her daughter was moving into a safer stage of recovery. Tears filled her eyes as she covered her mouth, overwhelmed with relief. The family members hugged her tightly, feeling the weight of hope rise higher. Everyone inside the room felt a warmth that pushed the fear away. Outside the hospital, the crowd clapped softly when they heard the good news. Some people cried out of joy, others smiled with deep emotional relief. The atmosphere shifted from fear to celebration, like sunrise after a long storm. Supporters held hands, hugging one another as they shared the moment. The world felt lighter as hope became stronger than worry. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. Nurses inside the room continued caring for her with gentle hands and kind smiles. Mama June stayed beside her, whispering stories, memories and prayers. She thanked the doctors for their tireless effort, for their long nights and dedication. Her daughter had shown incredible strength, reminding everyone of her fighting spirit. The recovery ahead was still long, but the hardest part had already been survived. Fans online shared the news with joy. Messages filled with love, strength and celebration spread everywhere. Children who adored her danced in small videos, saying she is getting better. Adults wrote prayers and shared stories of how much she inspired them. Hope had won against fear one more time. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. The night in the hospital grew heavier as Honey Boo Boo tried to shift slightly on the bed. The pain still shot through her body, but she refused to complain. She didn't want anyone to worry any more than they already were, and she whispered to Mama June that she felt a little stronger even if her voice didn't match the words. Mama June looked at her daughter and tried to smile, the kind of smile a mother gives when she's holding back tears. She brushed her hair gently and told her everything was going to be okay, even if she wasn't fully convinced yet, because seeing her baby lying there broke her in ways she couldn't explain. Outside the room, the medical machines beeped softly, marking each second that passed, and each second felt like a reminder of the moment everything changed, that terrifying moment when the crash sent shockwaves through their entire family. Nurses entered the room again, checking her pulse, her breathing, asking her simple questions like whether she could feel her legs and if she remembered anything new, and Honey Boo Boo answered slowly, focusing on each word because her head still felt foggy. Pumpkin walked in holding a bag of things. Honey Boo Boo loved small items like her blanket, earphones, and a little charm she always kept with her. Pumpkin said she wanted her to feel at home even inside a hospital room because home was wherever family stood together. Terrifying crash sends Honey Boo Boo to the ER. Mama June breaks her silence. As the family talked softly, Honey Boo Boo asked about the outside world. She asked if people were worried if fans were sending messages, and Pumpkin nodded, telling her that the internet was full of love, support, and prayers. People were lighting candles, writing posts, and sending positive energy from every corner. Mama June held her hand again and told her she never realized how many people truly cared. She said sometimes fame felt heavy, but moments like this showed her that the world still had kindness even in the middle of chaos. Honey Boo Boo whispered that she didn't just want to recover physically, especially at night. Her